Hi, my name is Amelia Perfetto, and today myself and my group will be presenting our final project for organizational staffing on applicant screening at Pure Nature Nutrition Centers. Okay, so for our agenda today, we're first going to start with an introduction into our organization, Pure Nature. Next, we're going to move on to our topic of choice, which was applicant screening, and get you familiar with the topic. Then we will be moving into the current process at Pure Nature and the issues that exist within this. And then we're going to finish off with recommendations and implementation plans for Pure Nature.
Pure Nature Nutrition is a local nutrition store that sells supplements, vitamins, herbs, sports supplements, and natural food products. There are 6 locations across Windsor, Essex County. 2 of them are in Windsor. 1 is in Lakeshore, 1 is in Amherstburg, 1 in LaSalle, and the newest location just opened up in Essex. Each of these locations has approximately 6 to 8 employees, and the company was established in 1997 by Lou and Sevi Mavranzis. After contacting the company and analyzing the information we received from them, we both agree that their applicant screening process could use some improvement.
Pure Nature's mission statement is to spread our passion for health and wellness and inspire people to take a holistic approach to their well-being.
The specific topic area that we're going to be discussing today is applicant screening. So to give a brief definition for applicant screening, it's a way in which to reduce the applicant pool and identify the strongest candidates within that pool. So when an employer puts out a job posting and receives many applications, applicant screening practices are a really useful tool to get the amount of applications down to a more manageable size for the organization to then sort through themselves. So there's a number of different approaches to screening, and it can be done through telephone screening, courtesy interviews, resume analysis, weighted application blanks, and biographical information blanks, as well as computer-based screening, which is what we're going to be looking at later on today. And the choice of screening method completely depends on the needs of an organization. So you can use a combination of 2 or just pick one that aligns with the needs of the organization and the layout of the business.
Now we're going to talk about Pure Nature's current screening process. So currently Pure Nature seeks employees mainly through Indeed, although they also provide a join our team option on their website, which allows applicants to view what they have to offer and gives them the opportunity to apply directly through email. So essentially, Pure Nature views almost all resumes that apply directly to them. And after review, the manager conducts a telephone screening to assess the candidate's qualifications, which then gives the team a clear impression of the applicant. They then decide whether the applicant merits an in-person interview. Based on the information we have received from Pure Nature, we believe there are some issues with their applicant screening process that can be improved upon. So after determining that they only screen applicants initially through a telephone process before conducting an in-person interview, indicates that there is room for additional screening processes to be implemented. So having only one screening process can decrease their possibilities of finding and having a larger selection of successful candidates. Also, manually having to go through each resume to select the most qualified candidates can take a lot of time and effort. And we believe this can be alleviated through additional applicant screening processes. So we will now explain the recommendations that we have selected to implement improvements in Pure Nature's applicant screening process.
Human resource information systems are tailored software systems for businesses big and small to take care of a number of activities, including those related to human resources, accounting, and payroll. An HRIS system allows a company to plan its HR costs more effectively, as well as to manage them and control them without needing to allocate too many resources to complete the task. In most situations, an HRIS system will also lead to increases in efficiency when it comes to making decisions in HR, like recruitment. Its many functions serve as a supportive background for the company by providing everything from skilled and talented labor to management training services and employee enrichment opportunities. We believe that implementing an HRIS system would be a proactive approach to the current problem that Pure Nature faces with its screening process. This system benefits both the employer and the candidates during the screening process because it is much easier for managers and HR professionals involved in the process to take immediate action. Candidate applications and profiles can be reviewed and interview feedback may be added, which allows managers to move applicants onto the next step of the hiring process more efficiently. By improving the applicant screening process, it allocates more time for managers to break down the desired candidate's resume, rather than flipping through the stack of resumes, which may not lead to any advancement in the hiring process. The information system is solely online, which cuts down the administrative cost when it's implemented, but it also improves the applicant's process because it does not require them to drop off resumes. With a growing concern for virtual elements during the times of COVID, the HRIS system will allow for more remote control so that employers do not have to deal with candidates one-on-one until the interview is scheduled. Another fundamental part of the HRIS system is succession planning, which gives companies a head start to the screening process because it develops employees to fill the higher level positions. If they already have an idea of a candidate in mind, they can hire internally, which fully eliminates the screening process that is required for external candidates. In return, it should build stronger applicants and improve the team collaboration because it requires management input and will help coincide management decisions when looking for applicants. The focus of our presentation is that Pure Nature Nutrition needs to develop a proper applicant tracking system, which is a key aspect to the overall HRS system. My group members will provide an in-depth coverage of a proper applicant tracking system and how computer-based screening can improve Pure Nature's external and internal screening process.
The first step for the implementation of the Human Resource Information System is to plan and define objectives. Pure Nature will create the project plan and define the objectives of the HRIS. They will define the reasons that the Human Resource Information System is needed and show the problems that will solve and why it will be more successful. They will then talk about the pros and cons and the next steps and important ideas that will need to be worked out and worked on throughout the development of the Human Resource Information System. They can then define objectives for the system and assign functions that the system should perform and functions that it will not be responsible for. The next step is to involve the stakeholders. In order for Pure Nature to ensure success, the next thing they need to do is involve all stakeholders at all levels and make sure all employees and managers will be aware and understanding of the new system that is going in. Without a lack of buy-in from stakeholders, the implementation of the new system can be delayed or deprioritized. The third step is to create the project team. They will create the project team and ensure there's a diverse range of perspectives, experience, and seniority levels. These employees that are part of the team can ask questions about roles, skill sets, how many people will have an essential skill and how many will have regular skills, and who will have full-time duties of working on each topic. The fourth step is to evaluate the HRIS options. They can check options and compare the factors when deciding on a certain human resources information system. They can then use these options to identify forms of customer support and ensure everything is correctly set up. The fifth step is to create a process map for implementation. They will then prepare the plans for the implementation process and to ensure that it will work. They will have to look over the goals and requirements and make sure the plans meet the approved budget and the timeline is agreed upon. Once this is completed, the final steps of pre-live testing will begin and the training of all system users. When they train all the system users, they'll make sure all employees know exactly what they're doing and how they can be successful with this new system. Once Pure Nature makes sure the HRIS is financed and purchased, everything will be all ready to go and they can then be implemented upon approval. They could have a team meeting before the launch of the new system to ensure there's good chemistry and team morale within the company. After they complete all the steps and implement the system, the company will have approval and Pure Nature will then be ready to have the new system implemented and they can begin using it. The seventh and final step of the implementation of the Human Resources Information System is to test the performance of the new system and see how everything is working within the company and check if they're becoming successful or not.
So now moving on to the computer-based screening. And what this is when companies use a computer-based test to assess and select candidates for an open job position. They act as an effective first level of screening, especially when the outcome of applicants is large. This tool helps select candidates with the right talents and skills for the next step in the interview process. Computer-based screening. So currently, Pure Nature goes through all resumes that are emailed to them through their website in addition to Indeed. Our first recommendation is for Pure Nature to use applications such as eSkill. By having a computer-based screening assessments based on requirements of the job position, they will be able to narrow down applicants. Based on how applicants perform, they can now move to the next step in the hiring process. Our second recommendation is to use an ATS such as JobVite to help their screening process for those who apply directly on the Pure Nature website and to help with their issue of time consumption based on their previous method of screening.
As mentioned before, we are going to focus on applicant tracking system as our form of computer-based screening. This is a software that acts as a database for job applicants, and this will not only allow the external candidates to be screened, but also the internal employees. So the steps to implement an applicant tracking system externally: first, we begin using a screening software that will help Pure Nature identify the proper candidates needed. An example of this type of software is JobVite. JobVite is an easy-to-use applicant tracking system that uses automation and intelligence to help the organization hire faster and smarter. It also gets rid of tedious and manual processes and gives you real-time analytics to help acquire the top talent that the business wants. So, for example, if you're looking at a store manager for Pure Nature and you wanted to hire externally, the software would pull out previous management skills and experience. And since Pure Nature uses Indeed already, we are going to use this screening process for the applicants that apply through their website. So the second step is that the applications will then go through the pre-screening process and will be filtered through keywords on their resumes and their particular prior experience. So keywords are the most important function to an applicant tracking system. For example, if a hiring manager types nutrition and Windsor into the applicant tracking system keyword search bar, candidates whose resumes mention nutrition as a skill and Windsor as their location will then go to the top of the candidate list, and this will help with only obtaining applicants that are properly suited for the position. The third step is that the applications that are selected will then be followed by a telephone interview, which is what Pure Nature currently does now. And once this has been done, the organization will then decide which applicants they want to add to their team and move forward from there. A main point to this is that externally looks more at resumes, and it is important that they are getting the best possible talent that they can find. So to implement an applicant tracking system internally, first, Pure Nature can use JobVite for their internal employees as well. And for looking internally, again, if you were looking for a store manager, it would look at employees that have knowledge within the company and know the ins and outs of the organization. This will help pool all of their current employees and see which candidates have particular knowledge of the job position. And once they have created a group of the proper applicants, they can either move or promote their internal employees to make sure that they are maximizing their talent. An important point to this is that it is beneficial for Pure Nature to have both of these implemented into their organization because, as mentioned before, internally looks more at performance appraisals and externally looks more at resumes, so they have a greater chance of getting the best talent that they can find.
We appreciate your time and we thank you for listening. Now we'd like to open up the floor to any questions you may have.